on whiteboard. Ears are covered up in shock, but students do learn. Too many voices deafen and confuse the ears. Still, meaning is clear. Eyes stare in wonder at 1,000-year-old paintings whose message is there. 1,080 pixels wrestle across the screen, and we see pictures. 17 phonemes meet with friendly ears attuned, and our minds commune. What a piece of work, as Shakespeare had Hamlet say. Communication.
I often hope that deep slumber, wrapped in warmth, of fluffy covers and feathers, will allow the loops in my head to untangle into a clean wire, the kind that I can use to skip through and over the loops. But sometimes switching off does not mean I've rebooted. I awake in the midst of it all, exactly as I was, with the feeling of scratching, constant and irritating. It runs through my bones, sandpapering through my organs. I know that all I need to hear are a certain set of words, and I'll be released from the overruling tyranny, the kind that gallops over and watches from above while I curl up and try and scratch the itch away. But we don't say those words. They're too hard to say. Even when it's me sitting up on a horse up high, how could I ever say the words that need to be said?
What's it like being Bengali and British? I speak a blend of English and Bengali, which we call Banglish. When I returned to Bangladesh at the age of 8, I thought, can I learn this language or is it too late? Thankfully, I picked it up on a second trip. It was enough to get by, but fluency, I had to get a grip. It was a struggle at times trying to fit in at school. Being Bengali was not exactly cool. Of the beauty that's within us all, out and inside. Come on now, there's nowhere to hide. If we care to make connections and speak from our soul, life will become much more complete and more whole. The world would be in much less of a mess if we concentrated and focused on happiness.
2NT 05440. To be born English is to win the first prize in the lottery of life. On lottovoitto syntyä Suomeen. You must remember who you are and why. You must love, even when you are alone, especially when you are on your own.
Pizza, cats, doodling. She even read books like me. I mean, who even reads books nowadays? The only amount that people read are the long-ass captions on Instagram, which might as well be published into their own books. That fateful afternoon. We had just finished praying. I went to the kitchen to get a glass of water. She sat in the chair at the table, and she turned to me and asked for a cup of chai tea. Now, if you don't know what's wrong with that sentence, you and I can never be friends.
No criteria to meet, travelling with my mum. An education so crucial, but we ended up standing out like a sore thumb. Living the depths of Tanzania, home was a hut on the beach. The plate was never full, but still smiles from the faces you meet. Unable to speak their language didn't hinder the chance to sing and play and make new friends, performing a little dance. Looking around the floor and exploring underneath, going on an adventure and waving at locals in the street. One girl in the same spot each day, selling fruits for her family. How could I communicate? There must be a way.
You always sat across from me, in the direction the train travelled. So I learned to lean into facing backwards. As we crossed through countries with soft borders, playing rummy and breaking bread in packed carriages. The burning rubber smell always overwhelmed us near Reading. It was both a hello and a goodbye. depending on which way we were heading. I cannot pinpoint an exact moment where we turned away from each other and became guarded. Our advance tickets no longer valid.
Brother. A world without language is a clock that doesn't tick, a building without a brick, a place without a name, and a fire without a flame. A world without language is a cloud without a sky, a hello without a goodbye, a heaven without a hell, and a story that you just can't tell.
See if that soil of little interest now can carry you, heavy, so heavy as you are. Not without then, I'm going to come up pneuma, you say. You could rest easily without breath, you say, and then forgive me. Ale to se směli se suppliting the go, for so much any barky pia, spirits as we are, awful as it is that you have wished both away and conjured more, but that soil, the soil that cracks underfoot, not ready yet for more. Sorry, it was not meant to. I mean, you said sediment, it will heal if we wait long enough. Here it's summer, that quarter of a year that lasts a third. Here it's winter, that quarter of a year that lasts a month. Here, oh here, the vantage point. No easy so yeah. Like teeth. Dashed tombstones.
Yes, despite the heights, I found out all the same, yet I write this absent smile. For I know at least one way better to tell you I have broken your silent fetters. You see, when I saw you that first day, I stepped forward, no ploy. But while you smiled at my words, you were quiet, silent, really coy. For nights after that, I stared at moons.
Silenzio serale, nel sonno, sogno suadente, sollievo da stupidi sollazzi, solo sbattendo e spirando tra le sponde spolverate, sperando di sottrarsi al solito stupro di una strampalata sofferenza sadomaso, stiro e stridendo strozzo lo stretto stinco lenzuola stento stendo stendersi lo sterno e stacchi stinchi stapparsi come lo stack che speggia sotto il mio letto salta e si favoreggia come una triglia nella teglia, quella troia di una sveglia. This fucking alarm.
Three putty sizzled in the pan, and she took another putty in between her hands, kept one eye on me and another on the pan, occasionally flipping over the putties once they were tanned. I motioned to her with my empty hands, turning over an invisible putty from palm to palm, same as she. She smiled an even bigger sunshine smile at me and gently shook her head from side to side.
Can you hear me? Baby, can you hear me? I'm right here, and I'm beginning to get weary of it taking you 30 seconds or longer to register things I say. I love you. You love me too, right? I know that you do, but you're looking through this room, past the dead weight of my arm, blinded by blue light, its rectangular seduction stuck to your palm like a permanent extension, triggering dopamine hits through latest article mentions.
For now, she is near. At first, fleeting and transient. For now, I can visualize her, like the very first spark of a flint, which lands among sullen tinder and generates an almighty spark. She comes suddenly, like the rush of waves in a tsunami, and sometimes not at all. Like an absent letter, written fully in verse, perched on some table somewhere, waiting to be delivered, its request temporarily unfulfilled.
But when I started writing it, I felt there's something deeper that I have noticed, especially people who were displaced from their place of origin. And it could be due to political reasons or for a better life. So I've seen people when they struggle to express themselves, and even after speaking the language to somewhat okay level, I felt that sometimes when I try to express myself to my partner even, there's some sweet nothings I want to say, but I don't feel the same thing when I try to do that in English because she's not from Bangladesh. So I end up saying things in Bangla. Initially, she used to look at me, the blank look, and she would be like, okay, what did you say? Did you call me names? And now she gets it. So it's a win-win situation now. She knows I'm saying something sweeter, and I get to do what I want to do. So this one is called Lost in Translation. The lips move, and the eyes do flutter or wink, or stay put at times. My head bobs. My hands occasionally gesture in the absence of my heart. There's so much to say, but I don't give it much thought anymore. Emotions veer off the points of the beginning to the end through the language of my thoughts. Can you remember the language of your happiness? The silence of its ever-present desire, or the unknown color of happiness? Close your eyes for a moment. To cherish the feelings of despair without laying a finger. Gently rest your mind on the hues of our sorrows when a teardrop trickles. And wait until you hear it fall in the hushed confusion of the lost translation. Wait until you hear the magic spell that hides the secret of opening the curious box. When we learn and unlearn emotions in mnemonic languages, semantics displaced by the time zone of grammars flying through the clouds of momentary structures, emerging as another person on the other side, it marks me out. Can't hide behind any camouflage. The renewed world of my adopted thought seeks refuge in the rhythm of life, and the insufferable patience for dissonance, until the puzzle shapes into the melody of my new tune. Thank you.